show.
All right, we are now recording. For those of you who are watching this, this is the YouTube playback of our radio show that's going to air on Sunday, and hopefully you will enjoy, get some information out of this. Guys, we got some really good stuff coming up throughout this show that's going to involve a lot of you in a variety of ways, both Brad and Chuck and Greg. So be prepared. This is going to be a good one. Chuck, are you wearing a headset? How are we hearing you right now?
Are you hearing?
We can hear you just fine.
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Greg's up to his ante. Brad already had it, and I'm doing mine. So just keep the background down, but you're fine. You're in your office, so.
Yeah, I shut the door.
Yeah, say hi to Sherry so when you need. All right, here we go, guys. Take one swig. Everybody ready to go?
Yep.
Ready to roll.
LaCroix, boy, let me tell you, so healthy and so much better. All right, here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here with you for the next 30 minutes or so. It's another one of these COVID-19 shows, each of us coming from either our home offices or work offices. Yes, even this early in the morning on a Sunday. Here joining us, great folks who I also consider friends, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. Whoa, that's noisy. That must be Chuck.
No, I don't think so. I did not hear any noises in here.
Okay. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Good to see you, Chuck.
Good to see you.
And also here, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They hire veterans. They're the #1 home team inspection service in the country, and they do just a great job. And that's Brad Lawler.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning. And Brad's
who's being very quiet.
He's being very quiet. There's a lot of noise going on somewhere. 357-0813 is the number to call for Brad. All right. Why don't we do it again? Let's do it one more time.
I apologize.
All right.
I can't seem to keep this thing sitting up.
All right. Well, just
that slow slide.
Get some glue and glue it.
Yes.
Or some rubber bands or something.
So for those of you who are watching this, so Chuck was having a problem. Now I could have edited it down, but it got to the point where everything we did, it was going to have to be. So all right, we'll start one more time. You ready, guys? Are we ready now?
Yep.
Here we go. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here with you. Yes, another Sunday, and here with us, and we've got a lot of real estate news to talk about. Here with us, Chuck Crosby from the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Chuck, good to have you here, sir.
Good to see you.
Yes, indeed. Brad Lawler is owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They hire veterans, which is a great way of paying back to our vets. They're also the #1 home team inspection service in the country. And Brad can be reached on his team at 357-0813. Good to see you, Brad, coming from
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
His home office. My son, Greg, from his new digs in Norton Commons. And Greg's got a new microphone, so he even sounds better now than he did last week.
You complain so much, and we're in the new house, so I figured I couldn't sully it, and we'll get some soundproofing up so we get that echo.
We'll get rid of the echo
for you.
So we got that going. Greg does my photography and marketing and so much more. And of course, you can reach me anytime on my cell phone at 376-5483. We are desperately looking for homes to sell because we keep selling them. Imagine that. And coming up a little later in the show, how to overcome 10 COVID-19 hurdles when buying a new home. And this will involve both Chuck and Brad a little later on that. First up, new reports in their impressive existing home sales jumped 21% in June. That's according to a realtor report. This is something that we expected things to get good after we get through the heart of COVID. And of course, now with COVID coming back bits and pieces, who knows what could happen.
Where's the heart?
Well, now the housing market showed continuing signs of recovery in June, with sales rebounding and prices holding strong. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. NAR reported $4.7 million in sales of existing homes in June. It's down 11% from the $5.3 million of a year before. That's compared to the coronavirus hampered market in May. Sales jumped 21%. So things are on the up uptick. I think positive information is a big plus in our industry. I think let's start with Chuck. How are closings? I got to presume you're seeing this as being on the forefront, as you do a lot of closings every month.
Yeah, we're slammed. We are absolutely slammed. Last year was big. I think we've easily doubled it.
Wow.
At this point. So
let's move it to Brad. Brad, you also was telling me before we started on the air that you're busier than you thought.
Yeah, we've been very busy. We've actually set weekly records 4 out of the last 6 weeks. So it's been really, really busy June and continuing on into July.
Meanwhile, just for buyers' information, prices are still rising. The median price of all homes sold by realtors last month rose to $295,300. That's up 3.5% from a year ago, and that's on a nationwide level. But individually, locally here, we're seeing home sales and continue to do well. One of the things that we're seeing on a regular basis, and we've talked about this in the past couple of months, is that the number of homes on the market in Louisville steadily around 18 to 1900. Now, that's not because there are fewer homes coming on the market. It's that more buyers are jumping on homes that are going on the market. So they're staying on the market a matter of hours or days.
Well, I think it's more than that though, right? Because we get all these statistics from NAR, right? And they're fluffy and they're good, and they are good. The market, make no mistake about it, market's up, but it's not really showing like where Chuck and Brad are saying they're slammed, and they should be in this time of year, no matter COVID or not. What we're seeing, in my humble prediction, is this rush of people not knowing and sitting on equity and sitting on value, and being able to flip that into something else and saying, listen, I don't know how much longer this is going to happen. We know interest rates are at unbelievable levels. Everyone's refining, everyone's buying, because I just dropped over a point and a half from where I was, and that was why I made mine. So I think we're seeing that. We're seeing a shift in what agents are able to get listings, and obviously what agents. I see a bunch of people posting on Facebook and social media about how they're losing. A lot of agents are losing out to, and we talked about this, not having strong enough offers and things of that nature. So we're seeing a real shift, but it's not really affecting
I tell you what,
Brad so much, but it's affecting agents.
Let's pick up that in a couple of minutes for agents who are listening. We'll go over some quick tips to making your offer stand out in a hot market. So if you're working with a buyer, you're going to make an offer. I'll give you a couple of tips. Greg and I, maybe Chuck, you in as well. But let me back up just a hair for us. And Chuck and Brad, jump in here, because one of the things that's happening in markets around the country, including Louisville, is that buyers are making offers without ever seeing the home in person. So let's say they're moving to Louisville and they're coming from, name a place, right? Alaska. And they're working with an agent. Let's say it's Billy Willie, I'm making this up, Billy Willie at willywoorealtors.com. So Billy goes in with a camera, either shoots it or does a live Facebook or a live Zoom, or whatever it might be, to the Alaska couple. They like what they see, and now they make an offer. So let's talk a little bit about, and I'll come to you in a second, Chuck. So think about that scenario. Brad, the things, if they're making an unseen of the home in person offer, what should they definitely be doing with an inspection?
So they need to do the inspection. And I haven't seen it quite so much in the last several weeks, but we still have some agents that are telling their clients, don't get a home inspection because you might mess up the deal. Of course, as a home inspector, I think that's a horrible idea. If you're making the largest investment of your life, you want, for a few $100, you want the professionals to go in and take a look at that house. We are seeing a lot of our clients that are making offers sight unseen. They might have done a virtual walkthrough, maybe not, but in order to remain competitive, they make a strong offer, and then they show up at the inspection and go through the walkthrough with us. So I definitely encourage anybody to be part of the walkthrough at the end of that inspection, just so they know, what type of challenges that they might face with that house.
If the buyers are still in, let's again using the same with Billy Willie in Alaska, will home inspectors now, even with COVID coming back, will you allow the buyer's agent to follow you with maybe a live camera with a FaceTime, whatever, to have questions and answers as you go through the house?
Yeah, so we've done a couple things. One, yes, we have had some agents that have come to do that walk through with us, particularly at the end when we've wrapped up the inspection. Of course, with Home Team, we get the inspection report to the client the same day, so they'll know right away. But we have had some out-of-town buyers that may, come into town 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, and they ask us to come out, and do a walkthrough through their house at that point in time. So we're happy to do that as well. Even once they do get to town, we'll do the walkthrough then. But yes, we have a lot of agents, or even our teams. We're all equipped with mobile cameras and laptops and tablets, and we can do the walkthrough virtually. We do a Zoom walkthrough as an option for those clients who aren't comfortable going into a home right now, or they're out of town. So either side of it.
Got it. Let's move it to Chuck. So from a buyer beware perspective, I would think the first thing that agents who are listening who may be in this position, not only take pictures and video of the inside of the house, take pictures of the outside surrounding the house on either side. I would think that's to ensure safety, that the buyer knows the type of neighborhood that they're going in. You agree with that?
Yeah, I don't even know that that's even close to being sufficient.
Yeah.
If it's your fellow talking to the sellers, obviously caveat emptor is going to protect them fairly much. But if you're the agent for the people, they show up in person after closing, they find out that, oh, hey, wait a minute, your angles were off or something like that. That just seems like an area that's ripe for trouble.
Is there legal action that can be taken against the buyer's agent if he or she has followed all the precautions that he possibly or she possibly could?
Prove misrepresentation, right?
Well, we're not even going down that road. We're just going down a, hey, you told me this and that's what I relied on, so I'm going to sue you for whatever. Running after somebody's license, I don't know about that so much, but I would want to have a ironclad hold harmless where they specifically say they're not relying on this, that, or the other that you've provided them. That just seems really scary to me.
As I remember, Bob, we used to be, when I started with you about, let's say, 8 years ago, you used to, somebody came in sight unseen, you would say, nope, sorry, listen, this is not, that was a different market. But
but I still believe if we're representing a seller and we have ways of telling through our showing time desk, but if a seller, if I represent the seller, if a buyer comes in with an agent who's, again, willy-nilly is the agent and the person's in Alaska, and they haven't seen the home in person, I'll counsel our seller and saying, listen, there are a lot of problems that can occur, not necessarily now, but down the road. So here's what I'm concerned about, guys, and this is a real concern. So the willy-nilly makes the offer on behalf of the buyers in Alaska. It's sight unseen. They come in with a strong offer. Let's say my sellers accept it. Then the buyers now make the trip to or the Louisville area for the inspection 10 days later, because now they've booked a plane flight and now they're here. They look at the house and they can pull out on inspections contingency just by not liking what they see and not even have a real reason, right, Chuck? There's no
right.
reason. Yeah.
Regardless of COVID, it's all, that's always how it's been. And at the end of the day, that's why you do what you do. You counsel your sellers to make sure they say, hey, listen, if it's the only offer, maybe it's a good offer. But if you have multiple offers, chances are that's the last offer that's going to be top of the heap.
See, what the way I'm looking at it is there's been nothing that's changed legally here in this whole scenario. All we're changing is market. We're changing, COVID. None of those have any relation to the underlying legal aspects. Everything's still the same as before, and I would want if I were a realtor, I would want an ironclad hold harmless that says, hey, I have told you making an offer with sight unseen is not the best idea, but you've decided to go ahead and do it anyhow. Just like an attorney would. If you want to do something and I advise you against it, you're going to sign a piece of paper that says, I advised against it.
Yeah, would you, Chuck, can we volunteer for maybe a fee for an agent who wants a hold harmless written by an attorney that would protect them? I would suspect that you could provide that for them and keep them safe.
Oddly, that one right there lets me do just that.
Okay. Good. Well, if you want to reach out to Chuck, 499-6360 is his direct number. By the way, we're about to give some tips out that are meant for agents, but for all of our listeners, if you want to review these, jot these down now or later, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com, and that's the redirect to our video recording of this show, so you can repeat as many times as you want or send it to your agent. Of course, we'd love to be your agent, and you can reach me on that for 376-5483. All right, so some suggestions to any agent who's listening to us. You may or may not know this, for buyers who may or may not know this. And guys, feel free to jump in, making your offer stand out in what is a hot market. I would suggest to all buyer agents to communicate both verbally and by text with the listing agent, just to find out if there are any particular items that the sellers want, maybe a time frame for moving. It could be a variety of things, but that way you're in contact with the listing agent and they know that you may have a strong buyer who's looking to make an offer. Then also keep your offer simple. I know you might want to put a home warranty in it. You might want to put a couple of different things, especially you might want a contingency on the closing of the buyer's home. But if at all possible, I would suggest not going there. Make it very simple. Also, be ready to move fast. I would suggest that you do a practice run with your buyers with how to sign documents. Make sure that they know how to use either DocuSign, Authentisign, or Dotloop, whatever it might be, so that when something comes up on the market and they're ready to move, if they're not with you when you are viewing the house, in other words, they're going to think about it, they go home and say, okay, we're ready to go, then the next step at this point is going to be make sure they know how to make this move forward quickly to get the offer in. Also, be aware of the latest techniques, and here's where I'm going to defer to Chuck on one of these. An escalation clause with a cap. If your agent doesn't know what that is by now, time to rethink the agent you're working with. Sorry, this is a standard system we're using, a standard clause that we're using that needs to be used by all agents to make the offer stand out. But the thing that I'm worried about, though, is if you're going to rewrite something in the contract, Chuck, that maybe you want to cross out the inspection clause or something along those lines, that could be dangerous to the buyer agent as well. Like, it may sweeten the deal for the seller to accept this buyer's offer, but at the same time, it may do them more harm than good. Correct?
Yeah. Well, my experience is that if let's say the buyer goes in and on your advice has waived certain clauses, and then after closing they find out that they needed those clauses, you can bet there's going to be some trouble. And the memory of that quick phone call we had is not going to at all come into play. So the rule of thumb is always a short pencil is better than a long memory any day of the week.
Meaning, just for those who don't follow the Chuck Crosby nacho radiator chip logic, the short pencil meaning put it in writing and make them sign off on it. Make that they've agreed. Yeah, every
single time. The clauses are in there because things have happened. If something happens, so they add something else in there. Guarantee if you waive some of it, you're sooner or later gonna stick your foot in it.
Yep. So be careful, agents. I was with a listing earlier this past week where the sellers wanted to remove some of the verbiage in the listing contract, and I said, these are board certified, attorney approved contracts. Let's go over what your problems are with the listing contract, and let's see if I can't calm your fears.
And it even goes a little further than that, Bob. Technically, writing a contract is practicing law. How is it you can write a contract and not be an attorney? Because you're filling in the blanks. If you go and you rewrite the thing, you might have stepped out a little bit. And in legal scenarios, if you're say you're just a regular doctor, a family practitioner, but you go and you act as a brain surgeon, you're going to be held to the standard of a brain surgeon. So if you're a realtor and you start acting like an attorney, guess which standard you get held to?
A good analogy. I think you're absolutely right on. So, and I know a lot of my fellow compadres out there as agents know that, but just buyers and sellers know that we should not change the contracts that we sign, because they are approved by our board and also the attorneys who created them. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, We've got a list of, I personally think this is 10 different COVID-19 hurdles when buying a home. That's coming back. In the studio, well, in our homes and or offices, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service at 357-0813, the great Chuck Crosby, who has coined the phrase
Radiator nachos.
Chips. Another show, another time, at the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. My son Greg, who does all of our marketing and pictures and so much more. And you can reach me anytime. And by the way, you can go to LouisvilleZillow.com to read what people are writing about us. It's not all spectacular. There's a couple of clunkers in there, but we try to be as good as we possibly can be. Or go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com to see what the sellers are saying about us. And again, if you want to see a replay of the show, LouisvilleAnswers.com will take you to a redirect, and you can reach me anytime at 376-5483. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here, back with you for the next couple of minutes talking about real estate. Here in the studios, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices, 499-6360. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 357-0813. My son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and you can reach me, as Barbara Corcoran talked about a moment ago. You can reach me for our guaranteed sale program or just to list and sell your home, which is what we do most of the time, at 376-5483. All right, so there are some concerns with COVID-19 or even without COVID-19 to overcome when you're buying a home. So let's go through these. Let's start with a termite inspection on a home you buy, and it's showing damage. Brad, best suggestions on something that comes back. You don't have to run because there aren't that many homes on the market. Your suggestions.
So, well, let's start with the fact that every home in this area should have a termite inspection done as part of the transaction. Not everybody opts to get the termite inspection. There will be places that are found.
Oh, we lost Brad. Let's see if he comes back to us. This is the dangers of doing a Zoom radio show. He's still there. In a freeze.
In time.
Where damage has
there
been
he is.
done.
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
Time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So pick it up with
termites got me there.
That's all right.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that you get the termite inspection in this part of the country. That's important. But if damage is found during the termite inspection, it is something you want to make sure that there's no evidence of termite infestations that are still there, and you need to make sure that it has been treated.
Got it. Moving on. The appraisal is too low. Now, this just happened to Greg's wife, Casey. Well, you in on what ended up happening with that, Greg?
Yeah, I kind of directed her and tried to help her out through that process. Basically, it was one of these situations where there was no homes on the market, multiple offers, way above where they listed it, accepted that offer. It appraised well below. In this case, the appraiser actually put the wrong information down on the appraisal report. They challenged it. He decided not to change it, which they don't have to, but we went to the lender and they worked out a deal on both the buyer and seller side and say, listen, if the buyers really want this house, they need to go pay for another appraisal because this report is wrong. And here's where we can show you it's wrong. And the appraiser you guys picked is refusing to change it. So if you want the house, get a new appraisal. And they ordered a new appraisal. Yeah.
And this is happening more often than not, folks, just so you know, on this appraisal problem. Next, clouds on the title. We go to Chuck Crosby. If there are clouds on the title, what do you suggest?
Don't close until they are picked up. Now, clouds is kind of a term of art. A cloud is something that might look like a lien or look like an encumbrance, but in fact actually is not. Let's say Mercury Federal Savings and Loan from back in the late 80s didn't release a mortgage because they went out of business. It's been paid. There's been 3-4 mortgages down the road, that sort of thing. That would be a cloud. But I don't know what the deal is, but generally when the market gets tight, we get properties with title problems that are just ridiculous. You don't close until you fix them, period. And you always get title insurance.
And I will tell you from personal experience that I have not found anyone who does a better job in clearing up title problems better than Chuck Crosby. He is at the forefront of that. So
he's the sunshine and he throws the cloud off.
Yeah, he
Yeah, no,
brings it.
we just track it down and I bug them until they fix it. So there you
All right,
go.
moving forward, home inspection shows defects. Suggestions on that, Brad?
Well, look, no home is perfect. Every house, including new construction, is going to have some issues to deal with. We always advise the clients anything can be fixed. So it's really just a matter of the agents getting together and determining, how to resolve those issues. There's always going to be defects found there. So just prepare yourself for that.
And a suggestion, if they are defects that need to be fixed, ask your home inspector to come back out and make sure that they've been fixed properly, correct?
Yeah, we do a lot of re-inspections for those. It is important. Obviously, the seller should be giving them receipts showing who did the work and what type of work. But yeah, it's not a bad idea to have another disinterested third party inspect it again before closing.
Yeah.
Got
Just to throw in one thing, had a
Yeah.
closing here not too long ago where receipts were given. That might not have been entirely accurate.
Yeah.
So make sure the receipts are legit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or just have Brad go out and re-inspect it.
Yeah,
The work was done.
That's
So how about one party gets cold feet? So the buyers may say, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking this just happened to us. I'm thinking I'm not going to close on the house." Well, there are damages that are going to end up in that buyer's backyard. Correct, Chuck?
absolutely. For instance, let's say it's $100,000 house. Buyers walk on it, and the next person that comes in to purchase it, fair market arm's length transaction, is $90,000. Well, that's damages right there that you can be sued for, and certainly commissions. Whoever walks out on the deal, well, there's a couple of realtors that are owed some money.
Key points. And so remember, if you're thinking you got cold feet, and one thing you don't want to do, because most lenders will not do this. So in this case, we had a person trying to do this claim that they lost their job due to COVID. Then the lender would not back them up, which was a bigger problem for the buyers. Just FYI.
Yeah. Well, good faith is always a big part of this. The person that goes out and buys the Lamborghini the day before closing to try and kill the deal.
Yeah.
That's bad faith.
And we've only got a minute now. Well, 2 minutes left. Just FYI, your financing falls through. That could be a problem, though. There's always a lender like Swan. We talk with Randy Rocky all the time. Swan Financial has gotten the job done when other lenders were not able to do it. So keep an eye out for that. The home is in a high risk area. Anybody you receive a document, let's say, outlining the natural hazards that may affect the home, floods, earthquake, or in this case, maybe it's in a flood zone that may put your back end ratios off, meaning you can't afford to pay flood insurance and buy the home. That could be a problem.
Brad, I'm curious, real quick. Did you ever see coal ash issues on the west side of town? I know there's some. I've seen some leaflets when I go do some listings over there, but I don't know if you see anything inspection wise that would be a red flag.
No, not really. I mean, there are some times we look at things that are obscuring the exterior of a home, but I can't, without testing it, I don't know what's dirt, what's coal ash, what's any type of chemical residue that might be beyond the house.
Not just coal ash. I mean, you go out into parts of Oklahoma where they've got landfills, you've got nickel and all manner of things in the soil.
Yeah. Those high risk, more than just flood zones for high risk zones.
And in some cases, if it's in a flood zone, you can ask the seller to pay a couple of years of the flood insurance, which would hopefully get you out of that problem. We're out of time. We're going to put a hold on it here with this, and then pick this up again with our show next week, guys, since Chuck and Brad are back. And we'll talk about some of the other problems and ways to overcome them with buying a home in a COVID-19 world. So hopefully that will keep you coming back for next week, folks. Again, we thank Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Thanks, buddy. Good to see you. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Also, Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection Services. They hire vets. They're the #1 home team inspection service in the country. You can reach Brad and his team at 357-0813. Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
My son, Greg, who always brings another viewpoint, one that's well needed, as well as does our marketing and does our photography and does a great job. Thank you there, buddy. Appreciate that. And then you can reach me. By the way, just a reminder, You can go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com to see what people are saying, LouisvilleZillow.com to see what people have written about us, and then to see a rebroadcast of the show, LouisvilleAnswers.com is a rebroadcast. Our home buying or home selling seminar this past week went really well. We'll probably end up doing it again. And if you need to reach me anytime, 376-5483 is my direct number again, 376-5483. We are out of time. See you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS. All right, so that actually was pretty good, don't you think? Because we had a wide variety of these questions.
Yes.
Overcome. So they've got a lot of information out there.
Wide variety is always more fun.
Yeah, it sure is.
And if we can get around my incompetence with Zoom.
Nah, you were fine. You were fine.
Listen,
we'll redo it.
We gotta try to do. I miss the phone call banters. I miss the old ladies and like the weird, obscure. I mean, these are good, but I just miss it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, here's
it gives a little bit of drama. Everybody expects. Hey, is there a question that can stump him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I love the weird ones. Like my neighbors are being a little loud next door when they're at nighttime during the candlelit hours. What do I do for that?
Well, just so you know, the problem is
get yourself a boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right. The problem that we have is rolling those questions in.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember. Yeah.
I can't do it without a producer.
There's not a mixer to.
I tried, and it's just. Remember, I tried that the first time we did it this way, and it just didn't work. It was scary. So I'll try to figure out another way to do it, but just letting you know, that's why we aren't throwing the questions in. But that's why I'm trying to come up with content that would be just as good at this point. So.
Yeah, I just am disappointed I haven't talked about radon in months.
Gee, I
haven't had a single radon question.
Radon on a slab.
Oh, please. $6,700 to mitigate.
Was it really 67?
Yeah, we had one. We've had two of them this year. $6,700 because the ductwork was actually in the slab itself.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yep, two houses and basically the same quotes.
That's a lot.
Wow.
You have a $100,000 house and a $7,000 project.
Am I what, Chuck?
Are you showing up Friday for the closing?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
I plan. Let me make sure. What time do you see on the docket there for your?
Hey, let me take a look. Let's see. What's the name of the buyer?
I wouldn't know that.
Recording.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what time. I think. Oh, is it on my schedule? It's not even on my schedule.
I see.
Oh wait. 2 o'clock? No.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. I've got a Martin Goldsmith. Then the Navy Federal. You say
I'll have to check.
Sandy's the lender?
I think
still recording.
Yeah. yeah.
Counselor.
Yeah.
The record lights on.
Recording light. I don't know. I'll have to find out. I thought it was this week, this Friday. It could be wrong. What's the address? Well, I can tell you maybe the address. That might. Would that help you on the address?
Yeah, not at this point.
All right, don't worry about it. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll have it here, and we'll. Let's not do it while we're on recording. So okay. All right.
Oh, are we recording so people can watch it?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to cut the end there.
Yeah, I
just
can't
cut it. Just cut it at the
end.
All
right. Well, we're gonna we'll stop it right now. Thanks for watching us, so we can talk about.
Did you guys see my?